Part 14. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 132. Chapter 131 Encounter Ambush. Lian Rulan said, "Mine can sit and lie." Yekong lay down and said, "I'm still finished. In addition to sitting on my flying carpet, I can drink with men on the top, and can also have a shot with women on the top. Is your colorful cricket okay?" Lian Rulan looked down at the flipped colorful crickets and felt that Yekong was right. The silk surface under his feet rolled like a wave, far less quiet than Yekong's flying carpet. If you put it on a small table to drink, it must be unstable. Well, you have some truth. Lian Rulan looked at Yekong's broken sheets, grinned, and got an idea. I saw her stepping gently, and her little feet in white soft shoes stepped on Yekong's flying carpet. "Hey, why? You don't have colorful magpies yourself, fast and beautiful, why are you on my broken sheet?" Yekong said unhappily. Stingy Lian Rulan's beautiful eyes sent a white eye, then Yuji pointed at the colorful crickets, and she scolded, "Close." The colorful cricket narrowed and flew into her palm. However, instead of putting the colorful puppet in the storage bracelet, she handed it to Yekong. Yekong froze. This girl's head got into the water. I heard that her colorful puppets couldn't do it, so she gave herself away in vain? No, there is no such good thing. Yekong didn't pick it up at all, and asked, "It's a good idea for the girl to refining?" Although Ye is a rogue, she also knows the reason for being unrewarded. Lian Rulan shouted, "You want to be beautiful, this girl is going to exchange my colorful puppet with you for a flying carpet." Knowing that there would be no such good thing, Yekong opened his eyes wide. "You are too domineering, you have snatched my sachet, and now you are looking at my flying carpet. Are you a female robber?" "I don't care, I will change it anyway, my colorful magpie is a grade higher than your flying carpet, and you are not losing." Lian Rulan took her unreasonable to the extreme. "You do nt make sense, I do nt make sense, you are a female robber, and I am a male hooligan." Yekong smirked. "Actually, it's not impossible, you and me are going to fire a shot, and I'll change it with you." Lian Rulan was flushed, her face covered with a good-looking red mist, and shouted, "Shameless, you would say such frivolous words." But then she blushed again and said very hard, "Then you fight, I look. Are you watching? How do you fight?" "This is to interact with you, sister." Yekong was a little depressed. "Lian, you know what this shot means?" Lian Rulan was blushing and did not dare to look at Yekong, and whispered, "We have seen the spirit cannon, it's a gun barrel." Yekong Zuo laughed and said, "Girl Lian, I know what you mean. What you said is called a fight aircraft. Shooting a shot means putting the barrel into the..." Yekongman came to Lian Rulan's ears and said a few words. Lian Rulan's neck suddenly became red. How beautiful and shy that beautiful face was. Go to death. I want to ask this girl to do such indecent things. My girl killed you first, Lian Rulan roared, flushed. Of course, Yekong is not afraid of her threat at all. During this period of time, Yekong found that the girl was very bearable, and Yekong felt that she was intriguingly curious about some aspects, so Yekong was very bold and often gave she does enlightenment education. "You said you wouldn't kill someone to win the treasure." Yekong quickly jumped away half a step and laughed. "This is the condition for me to exchange you a flying carpet. If you don't agree, you won't change it? In fact, in conscience, you colorful puppets are better than my flying carpet. If you don't change, but you must promise me that you will not be allowed to shoot on the flying carpet with women." Lian Rulan was very unreasonable. "Lian, this is weird. This is yes personal affairs. I brought a few women up and fired a few shots, as if it had nothing to do with you." Yekong was depressed. "I don't care. I'm not allowed anyway." After finishing Lian Rulan, he threw colorful crickets, jumped up with a blush, and fled away. "Hey, boy, This girl sees you, Huang Quan's ancestor whispered twice and praised, in the middle of the foundation period, if you have a double repair with you, how much do you have to take advantage of? Now, there are many small breasts, and the small buttocks that are crooked. Even the shadow beauty is less beautiful than her. I can't keep my ancestors. Go. Shao nonsense. After Yekong scolded Huang Quan's ancestors, he sat down and meditated, but he still couldn't calm down. And Lian Rulan, who was standing on the colorful puppet, was like a deer in her heart, panicked, and didn't know what to think. At this moment, Yekong suddenly heard Huang Quan's ancestor reminding him, "Be careful, there is an ambush in the woods in front. One after the foundation is built, and one after the gas refining." So powerful, Yekong didn't dare to neglect, and hurriedly conveyed the message to Lian Rulan with spiritual knowledge. I still do nt believe in starting Rulan. I do nt feel it in my heart. How can you feel the fourth layer of gas refining? However, Yekong did not argue with Lian Rulan, but adjusted his direction to avoid the ambush site far away. The two ambush monks originally wanted to make a surprise attack as they passed over their heads, but who knew they seemed to know that there was an ambush and left. The ambush people were anxious and came out to catch up. The two hurriedly left Beizong village. Where are they going? A voice of murmur came from behind. Lian Rulan looked back and found that the real man with bald head flew out of the woods with his buddy. There really is an ambush. Lian Rulan looked at Yekong with a little surprise, not knowing why he could feel someone ambush. The teacher is dead, and hurried back. What? Why isn't the real person doing business? Why would there be time to send us? Yekong stopped the flying carpet with a smile. Send you? Haha, the real bald eagle laughed. Indeed, I'm here to give you. He glared and said, I'm sending you to hell. I deal with eagle baldness. Is it difficult for you to deal with the refining gas? Seeing a war is inevitable, Lian Rulan quickly asked with the voice of spiritual knowledge. I thought you wanted me to deal with eagle baldness. Yekong still had a hip-hop attitude. No shape, Lian Rulan whispered, and then said, forget it, I'll help you with baldness, and help you, just drag him. Lian Rulan said, a touch of the storage bracelet in his hand. The best-in-class octagonal sand table is already in hand. Old thief. You lost the game, and you are still shameless. We are still driving Yunfa Pavilion. We haven't bothered you. Now you dare to stop us. Are you impatient, Eagle Bald real? Eagle Bald originally thought that after building the foundation, he dealt with the foundation in the middle of the foundation, but he could see that Lian Rulan took out the best weapon, and he couldn't help but condense the god. When he patted the storage bag, a large red all with high-quality weapon appeared. In front of me. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 133. Chapter 132, Bald Eagle. Haha, I have been selling amulets for many years without a storage bracelet. Hey, I will get it today. It seems that killing and winning treasure is faster than serious business. The bald real man laughed and waved his big sleeve, and the fire cone hanging in front of him hummed. This fire cone is about 3 feet long, like a long sword with the same handle, but unlike the sword, the body of the fire cone is slender. The fire cone was shaking and making a buzzing sound, as if alive, and could not wait to rush out to kill. Girl, you can taste the power of the bee cone, the bald eagle roared and waved his hand, and the bee cone flew out. It's just a top-quality instrument. Look at my superb sandbox. Under the control of Lian Rulan, the octagonal sandbox also flew out, blocking the bee cone like a shield. Lian Rulan was fighting with Yingqiu, and Yekong and the other man also worked here. To that guy, it should be easy and beautiful to win this battle. The other party only entered the 4th level of gas refining, which means that he has just learned to master the magical instrument, and this newly learned person can play the power of the magical instrument to 10%. So the guy felt that he had killed Yekongji, and he didn't make nonsense. He raised his hand and took out a flying sword to kill him. Yekong knows that he despises himself. He will count the meter at the moment. After throwing an ice needle, he urges the flying carpet and flees. Boy! Want to run away? Where do you go? The fellow said intently. On the amulet, I'm not as good as you, but on killing, you are too tender. Seeing Yekong so bad, Lianrulan was in a hurry. She wanted Yekong to drag his buddies for a few rounds, and then killed Yekong by helping Yekong to kill her. But who knows that Yekong can't even take a trick from others, which makes Lianrulan worried. She wants to help Yekong, but the real person is not a fuel-saving lamp. Lianrulan's mind was shaking, and the real person in the bald eagle immediately felt it. Hey, my 100 bee cones also have a mysterious function. Little girl, you are dead. When the bald eagle was alive, his and forefinger pointed at Lianrulan. Go. The 100 bee cones obediently dropped the octagonal sand table, turned his head towards Lianrulan. Don't look at me. Be careful of yourself. Yekong awakened Lianrulan with a voice, and she looked back, and saw the bee cone buzzing and pounced. Well, when this girl doesn't have a defense weapon, Lianrulan had another storage bracelet, and a delicate silver small shield appeared in her hand, ready to fight against the bee cone. Haha! Little girl, can you stop it? Eagle Bald laughed wildly. When the bee cone flew to the front of Lianrulan, he suddenly yelled, San! I saw the 100 bee cones, scattered instantly, and turned into hundreds of fiery red cones with the length of the fingers, and smelt Rulan from all directions. Lianrulan was so absorbed that she did not dare to be distracted and coped with her efforts. When the two men fought fiercely, Yekong also fought, but the situation on his side was not exciting at all. Yekong fled in front, and the man chased behind. The guy is very happy. The kid has recently made a fortune. If I kill him first and take away his storage bag, the real bald person will not have an opinion. Even if the bald person is not the opponent of the nun, he can get away with the storage bag. In his eyes, Yekong was already a piece of meat on his cutting board, but the meat was not so delicious. Yekong felt the time was ripe and suddenly patted the storage bag and saw a bronze bell fly out. The next second, Yekong's forefinger bounced, and jingling bell immediately made a crisp sound, clang. This sound attack is invincible, not to mention a man who is unprepared and has no rich combat experience. The dude was immediately shaken by this sound, and the monks confronted, and even a brief loss of life would be life-threatening. Yekong sneered and raised his hand, Go. That little sword weapon is shot like a blast. Boom for a while, and the man's spiritual shield was bombed. As soon as the psychic shield was broken, the man's brain was awake, but it was too late to escape. The small sword weapon broke the psychic shield and did not slow down. He pierced the man's body in the blink of an eye and blasted his chest away. A big cave. I am dead. The man felt that his vitality was being swiftly removed, and instantly his body slammed into the wood like a stake. Huh, be your buddy honestly in the next life, killing is not yours, Yekong coldly hummed, raised his hand to grab the storage bag, and flew back. When Yekong returned, Lianrulan and Ying Bald were both surprised. He thought that he was chased by his buddy just now. Why did you kill him in the blink of an eye? The real bald man saw the helper dead, and he couldn't help speeding it up. Quick, he pointed again, seeing that the hundreds of small bee cones were like crazy mad bees, piercing Lianrulan from all directions. In the Xianxian realm, the more powerful magic instruments, the needle-shaped magic instruments are definitely in the forefront. They are small but not powerful. It is very simple to pierce the other person's spiritual shield. Life. Hundreds of fire bee cones are truly extraordinary. Lianrulan only has a small garden shield. It is impossible to block so many bee needles flying at the same time. Haha, die, the real bald eagle laughed, and soon there will be a storage bracelet, Can he not be happy? Yekong also found the crisis here, rushed forward with a flying carpet, and at the same time spread the voice support, I am here. Thief, you also know to worry about me. Lian Ruolan had a sweetheart, but she was still anxious. She wanted to kill the bald to help the thief. Who knows that they didn't want to help themselves, instead they helped themselves. This made the winning Lian Ruolan very upset. She replied, don't get involved. Do you think this girl is doing this? I saw that Lian Ruolan suddenly pointed her octagonal sandbox with her jade, and the word spit out in her lips, close. Dare to refine Ruolan is not a fuel-saving lamp. In fact, she could have stowed the small beacon into the sand table space before, but she did not. She blocked the beacon with a small garden shield, but let the sand table quietly approach the bald eagle. She played with the idea of putting the real person in the sandbox into the sandbox. Sure enough, the bald bird didn't notice this. When the sandbox flashed to the top of his head and glowed with golden light, he couldn't dodge. Not good, the eagle bald shouted. The figure had disappeared into the air. Hundreds of beacons, which were not controlled by them, also fell into the woods like a piece of loose sand. As soon as Lian Ruolan raised her hand, she collected all the beacons and put them into the storage bracelet. Then she turned her hair on her forehead and smiled at Yekong. How about? Isn't this girl handsome? Yekong knew that Lian Ruolan had learned from himself, and he laughed. Actually, this is not the most popular word. Nowadays, people always ask, is this action very embarrassing? The parrot's parrot learns the tongue and says, isn't this girl very stingy? Yeah, pretty yeah, Yekong Glee sighed. Did Lao Tzu teach MS simple? Their happiness did not last long. During the talk, the dreary dull impact sounded suddenly in the golden light under the octagonal sand table, and the sound became louder and louder. To the reader. Chapter 10 broke out on June 1st, so stay tuned. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 134. Chapter 133, Battle Eagle Bald 2. However, their happiness did not last long. The practice of the eagle bald was slightly higher than that of Liao Ruolan, and this octagonal sandbox could only kill monks who were lower than the users. The late monks such as eagle bald can only temporarily be trapped, and at this moment, the real bald eagle is madly hitting in the sand table, not to mention refining Ruolan. Even Yekong can see, the golden light under the suspended sand table stretches and shakes, as if it is about to collapse at any time. What to do? Lian Ruolan was a little surprised at the strength of Ying Bald. What is he doing inside? Yekong didn't go in, not knowing what was going on inside, but Lian Ruolan was the master, and he was very clear about Ying Ying's actions inside. He used a big mountain like Fubao in it and was hitting the ground frantically. Lian Ruolan did not expect that there was such a thing as Fubao. Fubao is a real man in Yuan infancy, a kind of spell made by extracting the power of the destiny magic weapon. It can be said that the power is very powerful, although Fubao's power is only 1/10 of the destiny magic weapon, but that is Yuan Ying. After all, the magic weapon used by real people, even if it is 1/10, is very powerful. Even if it is a superb weapon, it can't be countered. After all, the power of magic weapons and instruments is not the same. What to do? Lian Ruolan was a little nervous. If she let the eagle bald real person break out, and then used Fubao to deal with her and Yekong, they would be in danger. Let me in, Yekong thought about it. Bang, bang. Inside the octagonal sand table, the real bald eagle was controlling Fubao like a mountain and slammed the ground of yellow sand. Every time, it made the whole space shake violently. Fubao is a very precious item with a high price. This big mountain Fubao is obtained from Yunfu men many years ago. In the past few years, he has encountered powerful enemies several times. He used this Fu Bao to survive difficulties and kill them. Opponent. Although Fu Bao is powerful, it has a disadvantage, that is, there is a limit on the number of times it can be used. That is to say, using it once less and using it at the end becomes a piece of waste paper. For many years, the real bald person has used it many times, so this Fu Bao has only one last time, so he has been reluctant to use it, which is why he did not take Fu Bao out at first. However, he was trapped in the sandbox, and there was only death when he waited, so he couldn't help it, and had to come up with a way to save his life. Haha, little girl, you can't trap me, the eagle bald yelled frantically, pointing his hand at the huge mountain again, roaring, smash. Oh, a large mountain descended from the air, and smashed on the sandy ground, and the smashed space shook suddenly, and the yellow sand flew up in the air. Yekong rushed into the sandbox and found that it was just like the end of the world, with landslides and flying sand, and he could not see the surroundings at all. Although the yellow sand of the sky obscured his vision, it also obscured the vision of a real person with a bald eagle bald. He's in front of you, right in front, about 500 steps through spiritual knowledge, Lian Ruolan reminded Yekong of his position. I know, don't you say it, Yekong said without refining Ruolan, because it was helped by the spiritual knowledge of Huan Quan's ancestors. As a real infancy, Huan Quan could already be released outside, his spiritual knowledge is not felt by monks lower than him. Knowing the position of the real bald person, Yekong grasped the small sword weapon and plunged it into the sand. Little thief, do you want a sneak attack? It's useless. He is in the late period of foundation building. He can sense the movements around him with his spiritual knowledge. As soon as you enter the range of his perception, you are exposed entering the sand table, but she can clearly sense all the actions of Yekong. A smile appeared on the corner of Yekong's mouth, and he took out a magic charm from the storage bag, meditated in his mouth, and then patted the magic charm on himself. Instantly, Yekong disappeared into the perception of Lian Ruolan. What kind of charm are you? Lian Ruolan was a little surprised. She never knew that there was such a magical charm. It could disappear in this world that belongs to her. This piece is her world, her Fangfo is the master here, the wind, the flying sand, all of which she can do with her heart, and the people inside are also under her supervision, even with a look she can perceive it. But Yekong, a gas-refining monk, was able to make her master invisible even with a spell, which can't help but surprise her. Tell you, little girl, this is a hidden charm, haven't you heard of it? In fact, this hidden charm is also an invention of Yekong. He made it from the incognito in yellow paper. In the past, invisibility can only be invisible to mortals, but if it is made with amulet paper and production methods. Yekong's attempt was really successful, and made a unique hidden charm of the Kangnan continent, so that monks can't find themselves, but the realms of the two sides cannot be too different, otherwise they will still be found. However, the real human bald eagle bald should not have discovered it, he is just a realm higher than Yekong. Hearing the ability of the hidden spirit run, Lian Ruolan smiled lightly. Why is this dead thief so many things that others don't know, and how many secrets does he have? Damn, the sky is out of sight, Eagle Bald cursed angrily. Although he couldn't see it, it didn't affect him from hitting the ground. However, the real man with bald Eagle Bald is also very savvy. He saw this flying sand and thought to himself that there was no such yellow sand flying just now, so he was attacked by that girl. So he took out a flying sword and stepped on it in midair. But he didn't know that a monk was in the sand below him and approached him slowly. Near, 3 steps, 2 steps, 1 step. Okay, here he is on the flying sword just above you. Huan Quan's ancestor gave Yekong the last hint. Well, you're dead, you're dead. Yekong didn't wait any longer, suddenly raised the small sword weapon, and broke out of the sand in a shadow dance pose. I saw, on the long yellow sand ground, suddenly left a hole, a dazzling white light. In the blink of an eye, the dazzling white light radiated upwards like a pian lian. White light is like a dazzling light curtain that cuts off all obstacles in front of it, while Yekong, like a dragon, rushes out of the sand, soars out of the sky, straight up into the sky. No, the real bald person knew the light under his feet and knew it was bad. But it was late. Yekong's fatal blow came so fast that he would not be given any respite. Oh, Bai Liang's light curtain swept under the feet of a real bald person. The light curtain also passed away, Xianxia still covered the sky, but there was no movement in it. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 135. Chapters 13 and 4. Scatter. Lian Ruolan quickly scattered all the yellow sand, and saw that Yekong was already looking for the storage bag of the eagle bald real person. However, the real bald person has been split in half from the crotch, lying on the sand, and his intestines are flowing to the ground. Even the flying sword he is stepping on, has been split in half, lying on the sand. Buddha is talking about sadness. Little thief, you are really shy, Lian Ruolan said. Oh, isn't it? You weren't stunned just now. Yekong Shen was afraid that this unreasonable woman would rob him of the real life of the eagle bald with him and quickly put the storage bag back to his waist. Hey, little thief, and half of me, Lian Ruolan shouted dissatisfied, dead little thief, all the girls' sandy land is blood-stained, do you want to go without benefit? Do you want to pay for cleaning at least? Cleaning fee? Are you struggling to clean up? As soon as Lian Ruolan's thoughts moved, the real person Ying Ying and his heart and soul were removed, but she did not mean to leave the leaves empty. Little thief, you divide me in half, and I will let you out, otherwise you will stay inside. Yekong bit his teeth and smiled, you girl, don't you forget, I still have a kind of amulet called Sandy Amulet. Want to threaten me? No way. Lian Ruolan said with a smile, if you use sand to fly to a place that you can't figure out yourself, it is estimated that it will take you a day to get your bearings, and you may not find me. You are sure you what to use? Cut, don't forget, you begged me to go to Bone Spirit Gate, and I didn't find you very rarely. She didn't want Yekong to leave her alone and left alone, but she felt that it was too easy to leave Yekong empty, so she said a few directions and let Yekong find her own path. Yekong is not stupid. Besides, there is also an ancestor of the ancestors. Although the secret suggested by Lian Ruolan is esoteric, Yekong still finds the path quickly. Hey, thief. You can't swallow the monk's storage bags alone. Give you that dude's storage bag. Don't, the eagle bald real man has opened the magic charm shop for so many years, you should always share my general property. You've taken the first 100 beacons of a real bald person, what else do you want? Then you give me 2 hidden charms. The two were laughing and laughing like enemies, all the way to the south, day and night, and seeing it was a day past, according to Xiaoyi's information, this has entered the scope of the Bone Spirit Gate where the Bone Spirit Gate is located. Lian girl, your cultivation is too high, in order to avoid attracting the attention of others, I think you should keep it down. Yekong reminded that in poor places like the barbarians, there are not many immortals in the foundation period, like Lian Ruolan. The peak of such a midterm foundation will certainly attract attention. Are you afraid to lose face with me? Lian Ruolan jumped on Yekong's flying carpet and asked with a smile. What you say is what I mean, Yekong volunteered. It's pretty much the same. Lian Ruolan was pleased with the victory, raised her hand and took a small elixir from the storage bracelet and threw it into her mouth, and asked, small thief, would you like one? Yekong smiled bitterly. Sister, I only practice the 4th layer of gas. Your elixir is a realm. Is there a 4th layer of mortal? Lian Ruolan laughed, you are too low for your thief, even if this girl is down a level, it is higher than you. Lian Ruolan is right. She is a 6-story builder. Even if she lowers the realm, there are 6 layers of gas refining, and Yekong only has 4 layers of gas refining. This shows the huge gap between the two. The two were talking, and suddenly they heard the sound of a ping-pong flying sword striking in the distance, as if someone was fighting. Lian Ruolan was originally a fun-loving person. Yekong also felt that it was strange to fight in the range of Binglingman, so Yekong urged the flying carpet and flew over. In order to prevent extra branches, Yekong asked Lian Ruolan to put away the storage bracelet. For a moment, Yekong and Lian Ruolan stepped on the flying carpet, stood proudly above the sky, looked down, and saw 2 groups of men and horses fighting fiercely on the ground. On one side was wearing the same black clothes, apparently 3 men from a martial art. All 3 were men, watching the warfare on one side as the highest cultivation, and the refining of the gas was complete, while fighting in the field, 2 refining gas late. On the other side, the strength is obviously not enough. It is a pair of men and women, both of whom are at the later stage of gas refining. It is said that they and the other 2 are evenly matched, but there is still a refining gas that has not been shot well. The woman who was fighting was about 30 years old, and she was full of life, and she was quite awkward. From a distance, she was even more attractive than Feng Xiniang. The barbarian women also wore less clothes and had larger arms. Bai Shengsheng, eye-catching. When the nun saw that someone was coming, she just wanted to call for help, but when she looked at the other party's level, she suddenly felt half-hearted, and in the middle of 2 gas refining periods, there was fart. The female Xiu begged for help, so she only begged the other side, giggling while beating, "Little brother of the soul bone door, let the slaves and couples make a living." Everyone looks down and sees, though I don't know your name, but it looks familiar. The opposite man Xiu Leng hummed, "Let us come, it's useless to draw a relationship. Who told you that the bone door is not willing to be merged into our door?" The female Xiu refused to see the other party. She only had to show off her capital, a tall breast, and threw a wink. "Brother, let the slave couple, let the slave let you," said the nun, even pulling the neckline with her hand. Her neckline was already low. This pull, a white-flowered Sydney jumped out. "Be careful." Suddenly, the monk who was successful in refining gas gave a word to remind him, and the man in black against the nun was suddenly awakened, and decisively gave the nun a sudden blow. "Old guy, you're looking for death." The woman was almost secretly successful, and the man in black suddenly became angry. He manipulated the flying sword to speed up the attack, and the nun quickly fell behind. Fighting fiercely below, Yekong and Lian Ruolan were talking fiercely. "Shameless. This woman is really shameless." Lian Ruolan gave Yekong a stubborn nod, and scolded, "Men are all virtues, what's so good about?" Yekong laughed, "Of course it looks good, or else what do women use to attract men?" "I don't need this to attract men." Lian Ruolan snorted angrily and urged Yekong to leave. "Well, if you don't have this thing, which other man will look at you more?" Yekong muttered, and he was ready to urge the flying carpet to leave. It looks like a contradiction between Gu Lingman and Ling Guman, but Yekong doesn't like them at all, so Yekong doesn't want to interfere. But who knows, he was about to fly away. Suddenly the monk of the spiritual bone conquering hand started, throwing a hand at Yekong and throwing a large bird-like weapon. "Leave the flying instrument and the woman," the black monk snarled after him. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 136. Chapter 135. Age. "On the day you were immortal, I didn't do anything to you, you just attacked Lao Tzu." Yekong also raised his hand, the small sword weapon instantly became large, a white light flashed like a bird, and the bird's paw was cut into 2 pieces. The monk at Linggumen was shocked. He thought that it was easy for him to get 2 middle-level monks in his 10-layer monk during the refining period, but he didn't expect the idea to be so difficult. However, he saw Yekong bring out a Chinese-style weapon again, and his heart got excited again. He originally wanted to grab Yekong's Chinese-style flying weapon, but he did not expect that he had a Chinese-grade attacking weapon. It is common for the Xianxian people to kill and win treasures. The lower level is beheaded by the higher level. At the moment he greeted, "Let's leave that couple alone, let's get these two little guys in the middle of gas refinement first." He shouted that the two fighting guys immediately left the couple and flew over. The couple secretly shouted fortunately and got into the woods. Looking at the three black monks in front of him, Yekong sneered, "One gas refinery was complete, 2 gas refiners were late, and we were besieging our 2 gas refiners in the middle. You really gave face." The 3 monks in black laughed, "Boy, the world of cultivating immortals is weak and strong, and low-level monks like you should hide and practice in no one's corner. If you see Aunt do it, you must bring a beautiful woman and hold a masterpiece. Swagger, you are killing yourself." Lian Ruolan smiled slightly, raised her hand and took out the 100 beacons obtained by the real eagle bald man, which immediately caused the 3 monks in black to widen their eyes. "Wow! Superb instrument. I have never seen a superb instrument before. It's getting rich," the 3 monks revealed their wolf-like eyes. "It's really good to make Xiun faint." Lian Ruolan didn't tell them more, raised his hand and sacrificed the beacon. The beacon immediately uttered a beep that vibrated the eardrum, and then scattered into hundreds of small beacons. Oh! Hundreds of beacons vibrated, and the buzzing sounded loudly. The sound of the bee was amazing. Each beacon was like a bloodthirsty killer bee. "Go," Lian Ruolan pointed a finger, and the beacon buzzed and rushed out like a group of excited death. Not good, the leading monk, the great consummate monk, didn't know that it was bad. The most powerful thing in the world of Xianxian was the needle-shaped instrument. This was a few hundred pieces, and there was no way to hide it. Run away, they knew they kicked on the iron plate today, but it was too late. Hundreds of beacons shot out in a swarm, and the snoring sound of piercing the spiritual shield was endless. In the blink of an eye, the 3 monk-bone monks were shot into honeycomb coal. On this point, I dare not speak out, weak meat and strong food. "Huh, are you strong?" Lian Ruolan scorned, raised his hand to recall the 100 beacons, and tore off the storage bags around the 3 monks. "Are all poor ghosts, what can be good?" Yekong's voice rang then. Lian Ruolan looked back and found that the boy was actually sitting on a flying carpet, holding an iceberry, and wondered how happy he was to eat. "Hey, you little conscience, this girl fights, you don't even know how to help." Lian Ruolan rushed over and snatched another iceberry beside Yekong. Yekong laughed, "These poor monks are low in cultivation, do I need to make a shot? Remember, the most powerful characters are usually the last ones to play. It's not as good as he dares to shoot first." Lian Ruolan was annoyed and said, "Why are you so high? I won't take a shot next time and let you play first." "Well then, let you be awesome." Lian Ruolan took out 110 spirit stones in 3 storage bags, and then threw the storage bag containing a large amount of garbage tools to Yekong, and yelled in his mouth, "The dog's mouth can't vomit ivory, you just nothing good. The dog's mouth can vomit ivory, so I will switch to raising a dog." Yekong threw all 3 storage bags into his own storage bag. Then he stood up and smashed the iceberry kernel into a grass. "What are you doing there? Do you want to sneak in?" When Lian Ruolan was surprised, she didn't notice anyone in the grass. She didn't expect the boy to find it first. It seemed that the character who was a cow was really the last one to appear. 2 Taoists, don't get me wrong. The little old couple thanked the 2 for their life-saving grace. I saw the couple and the couple who had just fled out of the grass. The old cow was eating tender grass. I saw that the male Xiu was a lot older and his hair and beard were all white, but the female Xiu looked like a charming little woman. A tree pear blossom pressed by begonia. The metaphor is that the old man with white beard pressed on the pretty face and red face, but the pear flower was too old and could not be suppressed, and the begonia became a red apricot. This little brother, The action you just killed those 3 guys just now is really good-natured, and you can see the slaves beware of jumping wildly big. Okay. Want to rub it? Lianrulan was so speechless that this female Xiu was too shameful. It was the 3 guys who killed himself, how could he be him? Yekong smiled and didn't say much, and said to the old man, Dao will thank you. If they didn't take the initiative to attack, we wouldn't care. The old man gave another salute and said, anyway, it is indeed the 2 who saved us. At the lower bone gate, Zheng's Haidong, this is my concubine Xia Honglian. At that time, Xia Honglian interjected again, the 2 Taoist friends are so advanced and powerful, they must be disciples of the high school, she said, and then twitched Yekong with her eyes. Oh, we are a casual repairer, a minor repairer Lu Jun, this is the sister of Lu Qin. Yekong was inconvenient to impersonate Xia Hui this time, so he used the name of the brother and sister of the Lu family. Xia Honglian originally thought that the 2 were also accomplices. When she heard about her brothers and sisters, she no longer had any concerns, giggled, and took the initiative to carry Yekong's arm, squeezing her full weight against Yekong's arm. Lu Jun, good name, really handsome. Yeah, Yekong Hang said, this Barbara female monk was really open, but it was common for Barbara females to attract people, and he pushed Xia Honglian away. Although the barbarian monks are more casual about these aspects, seducing others in front of her husband really annoyed the old man Zheng's Haidong. Wife, don't make a mess. Let's just talk about business, Zheng roared angrily. After hearing what he said, Yekong had a feeling of vomiting, and then he remembered that the age of the women in Xianxian realm cannot be taken for granted. These women have taken Ding Yan Dan. Like this Xia Honglian, who is a little woman in her 30s, afraid that she is not much younger than the old man, otherwise she would be called an wife. Yekong thought of a 60 or 70-year-old woman who nodded and slaps her arms with her. Yekong just felt that her hairs were all up, and she stepped back quickly. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 137. Chapter 136 Interview. Yekong's performance was seen in Lianrulan's eyes. She giggled and threw a grimace. Boy, you know it's disgusting. Because Yekong did not accept the seduce of his wife, Zheng's Haidong had a good opinion of Yekong. Now he had to invite Yekong and Lianrulan to go to the Bone Spirit Gate as a guest. Yekong was worried that he could not get in and immediately answered. All the way to Binglingman, Zheng's Haidong told Yekong many things about Binglingman and Binglingman. Thousands of years ago, this Bone Spirit Gate and Spirit Bone Gate were a martial art, called Bone Spirit Gate, but because of internal disagreement, they were divided into 2 martial arts. Both martial arts were on the Bone Spirit Mountain, one in Shannon, one in Shanbei. Everything is fine. However, since the elder Yuan Ling of Gilingman was seated, Lingumen has moved into the mind of Guling Shan. The nature of Gilingman has been unwilling, so everyone's relationship has become more and more tense, and Lingumen has been conquered by force. Shannon means. Probably, the old man Zheng's Haidong really had a good impression of Yekong, and quietly told Yekong that there is a more important reason why the spirit bone door is so crazy, that is, Ling Quan is coming out. Looking at the mysterious appearance of the old man Zheng, Yekong knew that this Ling Quan must be a treasure, and asked quickly what it was. This is the secret between our Bone Spirit Gate and the Bone Spirit Gate, the old man Zheng said to Yekong with the transmission of spiritual consciousness. There is a mountain fault in the back of the mountain, where a kind of Ling Quan liquid is produced. 5 cups can be condensed every 100 years. This Ling Quan contains a large amount of aura. Drinking the aura can naturally be used for its own use, and there is no need for refining, especially for monks during the refining period. A cup can add a layer. Oh! Still, this kind of fetish, Yekong stared at the boss in shock, 1 cup at a time. If these 5 cups were drunk by himself, he wouldn't be able to reach the 9th layer of refining gas at once. God! The foundation will soon be built. It's this kind of fetish that drives the spirit bone door crazy. According to the regulations, 2 of our schools took 2 cups each, and the remaining 1 was sent by the 2 schools for the refining period. The last cup, but seeing the Gillingman gate is not ready, Lingumen wanted to swallow 5 cups of Lingquan at once, and was afraid that we would go out of the mountain to ask for help, so we blocked the mountain road and killed us when we saw Gillingman. Oh, Yekong nodded. It seems that the competition for this fetish is also extremely fierce, and it is more difficult for him to get it. However, he has strengthened his confidence. No matter how difficult it is, he has to take a try. Even if he wins a cup, he has saved many years of practice. It is best to get 5 cups together and build the foundation early. I do not know why, Yekong is now more and more eager to improve his realm, to catch up with Lianrulan. Why he has to catch up, then only he knows. After a while, the mountain gate of Gillingman was in sight. Although it was a martial art that was about to fall, after all, it still had thousands of years of origin. The 2 jade arches of Gillingman were as if they were telling the prosperity of the past. Yekong felt the aura again, and found that this Bone Lingshan is really a good place. The aura is very abundant, which is 100 times more powerful than that of the southern capital. Cultivation here is more effective. Although the gate building is mighty, the interior of the gate is dilapidated. There is not even a gatekeeper at the gate. No wonder Zheng's Haidong's minor repairs can lead people upright. No one was stopping all the way. The couple Zheng's Haidong took Yekong and Lianrulan to a clean house, and then said, "The 2 are here to rest, and I will tell the master uncle to see if he has time to receive you guys." Zheng's Haidong was leaving, but Xia Honglian was still reluctant. She didn't feel very old. Not to mention that she was 60 or 70 years old, and there were hundreds of beautiful female nuns. And the thought of the cultivator cannot be thought of with mortal thinking. Hundreds of years old males and teenage females, or young males and thousands of years old female goblins, it's not unusual to do anything. However, Yekong is an earth person after all. With the concept of earth person, he really can't stand the kind of relationship with an old lady in her 60s. Think about it. Therefore, Yekong euphemistically rejected Xia Honglian's request to stay with him to chat and sent Zheng's Haidong and his wife out the door. As soon as they left, Lianrulan giggled, came over and joked, "That sister Xia Honglian is very interesting to you. Why don't you want her to chat with you?" Yekong said disgustingly, "Sister Hui, I don't have such a big sister, sister older than me, can't bear it." Lianrulan laughed. Mei Mei stared at Yekong, and teased him again, "Don't you like to be older than you? Like the wind siren is a bit bigger than you, aren't you happy to play?" Xia Honglian is just a few years older than Feng Si Niang. She is 30 years older than Feng Si Niang. I found that you girl is very interested in these, female hooligan. Cut. I'm not interested, Lianrulan gave him a hard white look. Don't say this. Let's talk about the business. Yekong then told Lianrulan what Zheng's Haidong had told him. When Lianrulan heard it, she felt that she had to get this spiritual spring. After a while, Zheng's Haidong brought his wife again. This time, Zheng's Haidong was still very respectful. Strangely, Xia Honglian no longer throws a wink at Yekong, and her eyebrows look down, seeming to be a lot more honest. "We are in charge to meet the 2 in person." Yekong was a little surprised. The bone spirit door was no longer in need, and the real person in charge didn't need to personally meet himself and the 2 monks in the middle of refining the gas, right? "Is there something wrong with the person in charge?" Yekong asked. "That's it." The real person in charge said that they would like to thank the 2 helpers for their righteousness, and this was an exception to meet the 2. Since they were invited in good faith, Yekong and Lianrulan looked at each other happily. On the way, Zheng Haidong whispered to Ye Kong, "That's right, I told your real person the truth. He wanted to invite you to join the Bone Spirit Gate and take part in the looting of the Spirit Spring." "Oh? Is that so?" Ye Kongzi was overjoyed, but he was still wondering, why was this real person so relieved? Then Zheng Haidong said that the original Soul Bone Gate was for the Bone Soul Gate, and said that the distribution rules had to be changed. 20 disciples in the gas refining period were sent by both sides to the cave. However, the talents in the refining period of Gillingman are dying, and they really can't send anyone. They also heard that Ye Kong and Lien Rulan have superb magical powers, so I wanted them to participate. Ye Kong nodded after listening. He was worried that he had no chance to mix in Ling Quan Cave. This is the opportunity to come to his door. Why not? The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 138. Chapter 137 Conditions. After a short while, came to the main hall of the Bone Spirit Gate. A 40-year-old middle-aged barbarian monk with a long beard had waited in the main hall. It seemed that he was the real person in charge of the Bone Gate, and he was Zuji Wu. The layer of repair is, and behind him, there are a pair of barbarian men and women. They are not very old. They are younger than 20 years old, and they are all dressed in barbarian clothes. Men are still valiant and women are beautiful, but those eyes, but she was obviously charming, and kept focusing on Ye Kong's face. "Brothers and sisters of the Lu family, thank you for the 2 helping hands. The old man is Xia Hai, the head of the Bone Spirit Gate. This is my pair of children." Xia Hai introduced it kindly, and then signaled Ye Kong and Lien Rulan to sit down. Xia's head is courteous, and when the road sees unevenness, he should help each other. This is what every monk should do. Ye Kong and Lien Rulan also sat down and looked at the head, so easy to approach. Ye Kong gave birth to a lot of closeness. Heart of. When Ye Kong and Lien Rulan sat down, a boy handed a tea bowl. The Zheng Haidong couple also sat down next, and then everyone opened the door and talked about the Ling Quan. Xia Hai said indignantly, "That spirit bone door is too deceiving, knowing that we have no powerful role in the monk bone refining period." This unexpected idea came out this time. He patted the desktop angrily, paused, and smiled again. "Fortunately, God helped each other, sent me 2 people, the cultivation is not high, but the mana is very strong." Where Ye Kong said humbly, "In fact, our brothers and sisters are all casual practitioners, that is, they are slightly more powerful with the magical instruments. If the real person in charge administers the high-grade or high-quality magical instruments to your monks, it must be will have the same power." Xia Hai smiled, "Where are there so many Chinese-style instruments? Even the old man has only 1 Chinese-style instrument." Ye Kong nodded, and it seemed that the Bone Spirit Gate was quite poor, and then he heard Xia Hai asked again, "Dare to ask the 2 to really be casual practitioners?" "Of course," Ye Hollow said, "if it is not casual repair, can you let us participate in the snatch?" To dispel Xia Hai's suspicions, he also said, "Our brothers and sisters like to visit the deserted caves on weekdays. It is also a coincidence that they have obtained several powerful magic tools." Oh, this is the case. Several bone monks, including Xia Hai, showed envy. Then Xia Hai asked directly, "Dare to ask if they would like to join me?" Ye Kong didn't even think about it, and answered, "Of course it can, but, what is Ling Quan saying?" Ye Kong asked very directly. "Your bones and soul gates are poor and white. Of course, you want to join me in the Spirit Spring. If you act too much, you are false." It seems that Lu Jun's friend is a cheerful person. Xia Hai laughed and said, "Ling Quan relies on 2 robbers. If 2 robbers can't rob or die in the cave, it is destiny, and no one can blame. If you get 1 cup, it belongs to Lu Xiao. If you get 2 cups, you need to give us a cup, and so on." Oh, this way. Ye Kong Duo was a little surprised by the generosity of Xia Hai. According to him, if he got 5 cups, then 3 cups can be left. They have been there for 100 years, and they have these 5 cups. I have to give myself 3 cups, and I do have sincerity. Xiahai noticed Yekong's surprise, afraid he didn't believe it, and explained, if it wasn't for the 2, the Boomingman would be overwhelmed by the army this time, so we can get 2 cups, and we are very satisfied. Xiahai was so sincere, Yekong and Lianrulan looked at each other, and both felt they could agree. In fact, everyone knows that it is a cover for Ye Lingman. Yekong and Lianrulan are actually thugs hired by Gu Lingman. When they got Ling Quan, everyone took a shot and they were all happy. Yekong had this idea, but did Xiahai think so too? It's so good, then my sister and I joined Bone Spirit Gate. Yekong nodded and smiled. Hearing Yekong's promise, a few people at Gillingman showed a smile of satisfaction, and the daughter of the head of the house was smitten with electric power in front of Yekong. But at this moment, Xiahai suddenly said, "But, how can the 2 guarantee to return the remaining 2 cups to us? The so-called defense heart is indispensable. If the 2 receive 5 cups of Ling Quan, then as soon as we walked away, our skeleton gate lost our wife and lost our troops." Yekong waved his hand, "This is not a problem. First of all, my sister and I can guarantee the credibility. In addition, you can wait outside the cave, and we will return it to you as soon as we come out." Xiahai shook his head, "Greedy, everyone has it, and if everyone wants to see him at that time, let the guy with the spirit bone look at the joke, there is a way for the old man. Please say. My husband has a pair of children, and they are not bad at birth, so I want to be a matchmaker for them. Since they joined me, they married my children and kissed them." Waiting for Xiahai to finish, Yekong quickly waved his hand, "No, no, absolutely no. Just kidding, let Laozi marry your daughter, I have to check if she is let alone let Lianrulan marry your son? Even if I don't want Ling Quan, I can't agree." Hearing Yekong's decisive refusal, the air in the hall became cold at once, and Xiahai squeezed out a smile again and said, "Lu Xiao, why not consider it? My sons and daughters are better than you, why refuse? Does Lu Xiao look down on our skeletal gate or my Xiahai? Son and his fairy board, I really look down on you and your bones door." Yekong shook his head and said, "Xiahai, I have a wife, and my sister also has a future companion, so this matter has not been discussed, and Xiahai is asked to change methods." After Yekong finished speaking, Xiahai's son suddenly rushed up and pointed at Yekong and cursed, "Boy! Open your eyes and see, just for your 4-layer cultivation of gas refining, where do you find good buddies? If not for you there are several Chinese products, and my sister will never marry you. Yeah, my cultivation is bad, I know. In order not to regret it later, so don't take this matter for granted, and my sister will not look after your cultivation." Yekong fiercely, "I despise this boy and want to marry Rulan, you dream." Xiahai's son sneered, "It's impossible for you, you really don't want to marry my sister, it doesn't matter, but your sister, I have to marry." Yekong snorted, and lay down the tea bowl in his hand, and replied, "Send you 5 words, be your mother to dream." Having said that, there is nothing to say. After Yekong finished speaking, he stood up and arched his hand and said, "Xiahai, since I don't want Ling Quan, my sister, and I won't bother, leave." Xiahai sneered, "Want to go?" "Yes, leave all your instruments." Only then did Yekong understand that the leader of Xia had no good intentions at the beginning, and began to want to hold himself and Lianrulan here by marriage. If it was unsuccessful, he would grab it. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 139. Chapter 138, The Revenge. I can't think of a well-known sect of Gillingman. It was such a hospitality and revenge. Yekong sighed, shook his head, then raised his head to meet Xiahai's sneer with burning eyes. "Head of Xia, I remind you, don't lead to the destruction of the gate of bones and spirits because of greed for a while. Xiahai laughed, stunned, pointed Yekong, and shouted, arrogant. I want to see today, how do you destroy my soul gate? The other party had torn their skins. Yekong and Lianrulan no longer waited, and each took out the housekeeping instrument, which made Xiahai and others drop their eyes. Lianrulan even took out a superb magic instrument from the storage bracelet. Oh my god! It's a storage bracelet, Xiahai's son exclaimed. At the same time, Xiahai's daughter also exclaimed, it's a magic weapon. Previously, Zheng's Haidong came back and reported that they had at least one top-quality artifact and two middle-quality artifacts. Now it seems that there is more than that. Xiahai suddenly became tense. It seems that there must be an amazing teacher behind the two, otherwise the female Xiu only practiced 6 layers of gas. How could there be a storage bracelet? This thing is too precious. The whole barbarian family has different schools, and I am afraid that only a few ancestors of the infants have it. At the same time, Xiahai also made up his mind to leave these two men, otherwise, it would really lead to the destruction of the bone spirit gate. Leave them. Hurry up, don't disturb the cleaning of the old ancestor Jidan. Xiahai patted the storage bag and saw a tiger-shaped skeleton pop out. Hey, let you see my rotten bones tiger. But it also has repairs in the early days of Foundation, ha ha ha. In fact, Xiahai also has selfishness. He doesn't want to alarm too many colleagues. The more people participate, the more people divide things. After killing these two people, you can give something casually and send the Zheng's Haidong couples together. The remaining superb, top quality instruments are shared by themselves and their children. Looking at the Zheng's Haidong couple who surrounded them, Yekong sneered, is that how you repay the life-saving benefactors? Saving life benefactor? Wouldn't you have shot it if that guy who had a great gas refining attacked you? Zheng's Haidong laughed ironically and took out his flying sword. In his opinion, although the two little monks rely on several obscenities, at most they deal with monks in the gas finishing period, and their heads have the strength of the middle period of Foundation construction, and the early period of Foundation construction. The rotten bone tiger helped, to kill these two monks, isn't it right? If he knew that Yekong and Lianrulan had just killed a big real man in the late Foundation period, he would not think so. Go, Yekong didn't know if they had any reinforcements, so he made up his mind to break away, raised his hand, and grabbed some of the inferior artifacts and cut off Zheng's Haidong. I can't think of the fourth layer of gas refining. You can control several instruments at the same time, but when you meet me, you're out of luck. Xiahai sang a cry, pointed at the rotten bone tiger, and ordered, go. The rotten bone tiger roared and stepped up. At the same time, Xiahai's son and daughter each controlled the same weapon and attacked. Flame of rice grains, Lianrulan shrugged out the star Anna sandbox. As soon as the octagonal sand table was shot, it suddenly emitted tens of thousands of golden lights, drawing a good-looking arc. Dang dang dang. 3 consecutive sounds, not only hit the rotten bone tiger, 2 Xiahai children's weapons were also knocked down. Go out. She isn't a cultivation practice during the gas refining period, Xiahai suddenly exclaimed. You must know that his carrion tiger is an early cultivation practice. He can control the magic weapon. I know now, it's late. Lianrulan's mouth turned up, and he pointed at the octagonal sandbox. Please reprimand, close. I saw a golden beam of light immediately under the octagonal sand table, and put the rotten tiger in it. Xiahai did not expect the other party to be so arrogant. This female cultivation was obviously not a cultivation practice during the refining period. He regretted not asking for help, and quickly took out a note. Seeing that he wanted to be called, Yekong immediately understood that the boy didn't arrange for a second hand. Immediately changed the decision and said, kill them all. Xiahai left the transmission in a hurry and threw it out. A golden light passed through the hall instantly, but Yekong also raised his hand and threw out an ice needle symbol, and slammed it, shooting the transmission symbol into a pile of powder. Seeing that the situation was not right, Zheng Haidong and Xiahong Lian, who were close to the door, desperately tried to escape the road. Go, Yekong raised his finger again, and the small sword weapon suddenly turned into a few feet long, swiped the floor, swept away, and split the two in half from behind. When Zheng Haidong and his wife were beheaded and killed, Huang Quan's ancestor was reminded in his mind, I have the secret to subdue the rotten bone tiger. Would you like to take care of it yourself? Yekong certainly wanted to. He was not high. If there was a helper of the rotten tiger in the early foundation period, it would be so happy. Moreover, this rotten bone tiger is the skeleton of the spirit tiger, and it does not need to eat food, nor does it betray its owner. To say that this light officer does not eat thugs, don't you? Stupid. If Rulan don't rush to kill the rotten bone tiger, leave me, Yekong yelled quickly. Lian Rulan was about to disperse the rotten bone tiger that was put into the sandbox. After listening to Yekong's words, he quickly stopped. However, although the sand table is powerful, it also has disadvantages. After the stuff is collected, the people inside will not die, and the sand table cannot move. In other words, this sand table can only deal with one person at a time. It is impossible to fly around and take everyone away. I can't collect Xiahai without killing the rotten bone tiger, Lian Rulan said, and took out the beacon from the storage bracelet. In the end, it was the magic weapon of the monk in the later period of construction. So I also love to make this stuff. Lian Rulan wanted to control the octagonal sand table while manipulating the beacons against Xiahai, but Yekong laughed. You can cover the rotten bone tiger with peace of mind. The three of Xiahai gave it to me. Refining Rulan put down 100 beacons. I would like to see how you deal with a mid-gas refining period and 2 mid-refining gas refining periods. These 3 are higher than you. Xiahai? You die. Yekong raised his hand and sacrificed the small sword weapon, and saw that the smaller the sword grew, the sooner it grew into a giant sword on the top of the hall, which reached the ground. Shining white and silver, the sound was truly amazing. If Xiahai really wants to work with Yekong, Yekong is definitely not an opponent. But Xiahai had been frightened by Yekong's battle and thought he had deliberately lowered Xiu. Xiahai didn't think of killing his opponent anymore, he just wanted to escape. 2. Misunderstanding, it's not good for my husband to accompany you, is it okay to stop there? Xiahai begged. If you say nothing, just give up. Yekong hated Xiahai so much that he saved them. They didn't want to pay their favors, but they stunned their own magical instruments and beauties. Such unrighteous people killed quickly. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 140. Chapter 139, Killing the Head. Cut. Yekong pointed at Xiahai again. I saw the giant sword crashing down, a silver light, splitting against Xiahai's head. Father, Xiahai's children each manipulated the instruments to stop them, and the bone spirit gate was full of bones. Xiahai's children used flying swords made of animal bones. Papa, bone sword was totally unsustainable and broke off. Dang, the giant sword was finally dropped, but at a critical moment, Xiahai sacrificed a beast bone shield, which blocked Yekong's shock. Blocked by this blow, Xiahai immediately discovered that the boy was not as strong as he imagined. Blocking him again for 3 or 5 times was definitely not a problem. Run away. I'll stop them, you run away, and go out to open the guard door first, Xiahai informed his children with spiritual knowledge, but he held the bone shield and attacked again and again. I see, Father. Xiahai's son glanced vaguely at Yekong, trying to escape from the cave where the back wall of the hall was chopped by a small sword. But Yekong Nerong allowed the boy to escape, patted a storage bag, and a silver charm with a silver luster appeared in his hand. Yekong muttered a word in his mouth, his gestures changed rapidly, and then he stared at his eyes, shattered the charm, and spit out the word, fall. A click sounded in mid-air, at the same time, a blue and white flash of lightning fell, breaking the hall roof and hitting Xiaohai's son. The power of this thunderbolt spell is really amazing. Lian Rulan can use this thunderbolt to slash to death even at the beginning of the foundation, not to mention the later period of gas refining. Instantly, the hall was filled with a scorched smell. Xiaohai's son was burnt by thunder and lightning, his clothes and pants were burning, and he could not die anymore. My son, Xiaohai wailed, and he really regretted it. If he was not greedy for a while, how could he make his son die so miserably? But his tragedy was not over, and a scream came again, and his daughter was shot into a honeycomb by the beacon of Lian Rulan. Under the turmoil of his mind, his protective spirit shield was also split by a small sword weapon, and the body was split in two in an instant. You are really the best 4-layer refining gas of all time. Neither the late foundation period nor the middle period of foundation construction are your opponents. Lian Rulan couldn't help but sighed and went out to tell others that it would be hard to believe. The eagle bald was unexpected, and this time Yekong killed Xiaohai in the face of the gong. Although it's normal for Xianxia to kill more people, it's amazing that you can kill more than one realm without suspense. What is it? Even if there is a monk Jadan, I will still kill it. Yekong blew a cow and quickly got into the octagonal sandbox. The rotten bone-losing tiger, who had lost its master, was struggling in the sand pile, roaring loudly, and its forepaws madly pulled the sand under its feet, but the faster it ran, the deeper it sank. Quick! Break the erected bone on its forehead, and then read the recipe I teach you, Huan Quan ancestor reminded. Okay. Yekong threw out the small sword weapon, crushed the horn on the forehead of the rotten tiger, and muttered something in his mouth. Immediately, the rotten bone tiger calmed down. Yekong put it into a storage bag, which flew out of the octagonal sandbox. When the hall was beating loudly, the monks outside the hall had gathered together, but the boys outside the hall had already been arranged by Xiaohai. No matter how much movement inside, nothing should be done. But the monks heard that the movement inside was getting louder and louder, especially the thunderbolt from the thunderfire curse, and almost all the monks at the Bone Spirit Gate were shocked. What is the real person in the door doing? If someone makes a mistake in the door, why don't we help? Yeah, is this the real head of the house to dismantle the conference hall? While talking, I saw a flash of white light on the roof of the hall, and after a bang, a huge hole was punched out of the roof, followed by a flying carpet, and a pair of monks flew out. The boy suddenly felt bad, and hurried into the hall, and the sight of the house was tragic. No. Master Uncle was killed. Hurry up and report to Elder Xia Yuanhao. Shaoqing, the only Elder Xia Yuanhao of the Bone Spirit Gate, rushed in desperately. Brothers and sisters of the Lu family, I will definitely look for you. Out of the Soul Gate, Yekong drove the flying blanket hundreds of miles in a stretch and found no one to follow, so he felt relieved. This time he really found out that in the Kangnan continent, he was really a good man and couldn't do it. He saved Zheng's Haidong and his wife himself, but it attracted the Zuji immortals to try to kill the treasure. But he didn't regret it. After all, there were gains. Opening Xiaohai's storage bag, it was found that the Bone Spirit Gate was really poor. There were only hundreds of spirit stones in the bag. He threw all the stones to Lian Rulan, and he seized the most valuable rotting bones. Tiger. More importantly, he heard the news of Ling Quan, which was his biggest gain. However, he did not know the exact news of Ling Quan, so he wanted to find a place to rest for a while. There are many caves in Shiwandas Han. With the help of the god's ancestors outside Huan Quan, Yekong was I soon found a hidden cave, and dived with Lian Rulan. After entering the hole, Yekong was just outside the entrance of the hole, and arranged the next magic array learned from the array book. Watching him busy, Lien Ruolan sat aside and watched, his eyes moved on Yekong, not knowing what he was thinking. Hey, you don't want to help. You are young, so you can learn to play deep. Yekong finished everything, and it was dark. The moon is as big as a table, with stars. Lien Ruolan looked up at the sky, holding a smooth chin, and sighed, I'm thinking, what kind of person are you, spiritual root garbage, and inferior cultivation, but it can kill the immortals in the foundation period. Actually, I'm a Martian, so don't spread it. This is my biggest secret. Yekong pretended to be mysterious. Go to you, the stars in the sky are so small, how can it live? Lien Ruolan did not believe. Well, this is your sorrow without culture. With so many stars in the sky, more are bigger than the Kangnan continent. You think it is small because it is too far away. Lien Ruolan thought and asked again, are there people living on those stars? Yekong shook his head, I don't know. Then you still say that you are from Mars? Lien Ruolan threw a white eye. In the moonlight, the lightness and white eyes of beautiful women were so touching. Stupid girl, I am playing with you, I believe this. Yekong snorted and looked away. The color was not charming, and people were obsessed with it. Beauty is still considered less beautiful. I think you're really from Mars. Lien Ruolan said with a sharp twist in his mouth, that color. Is Mars coming? Yekong fainted. To the reader. Brothers, teacher Xiaoman needs everyone's support. Today is 10 more. What about the bricks? The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 141. Chapter 140. The Buddha. Actually, why can't I blame me? I can't blame me if you don't blame me. In my hometown, there is a man named Buddha. He said something famous, called color is empty, my name is Yekong, so the meaning of Buddha is me. It should be pretty. Yekong said with a smile. Lien Ruolan snorted and cursed, this Buddha must not be a serious person. In the future, you should not associate with this surname Buddha. Really ignorant people are fearless. If you go to the earth and say that the Buddha is not a serious person, it is estimated that you will be divided into 5 bodies by angry monks. But Yekong said on his mouth, the girl Lin said is that I will ignore the kid of Buddha in the future. Of course, Lien Ruolan didn't know who the Buddha was, and asked, however, your performance is still very good today, but you refused to marry that barbarous woman at one sip. I didn't do it for you. If you don't want to marry Xia Hai's son, and just let me marry his daughter, I will not agree to it. That is of course. Although I am Yekong is a hooligan, but he is also a tasteful hooligan, so vulgar like the barbarian nun, how could I be tempted, Yekajian said insincerely. Lien Ruolan asked again, what kind of mediocrity isn't it? The moonlight was shining in Lien Ruolan's eyes, and autumn eyes were bright, as if there was a moving haze. Like you, Yekong said subconsciously. Get off. Hooligan. Lien Ruolan's face turned red, she felt her heart pounding, pulled Yekong's flying carpet, and fled to the corner of the cave to meditate. Well, why is this gangster? Yekong shook his head, found a clean stone, and sat cross-legged. Subsequently, he took out 100 souls, released Xia Soul's living soul, and asked him about the Ling Quan. Xia Yi didn't say it last time because he thought it was impossible for Yekong to steal the bones, and it was even more unrealistic to want to steal the Ling Quan. This time Yekong asked, he naturally answered one by one. As a core disciple, he knows more than Zheng's Haidong. Not only does he know the exact location, but also the exact time, and even the head of the school plans to use herbal medicine to suppress Xiu Wei, pretending to be a Qi disciple to participate in the snatch. When Yekong heard this, he was suddenly shocked. He dared to love that Xia Hai had no good intentions at the beginning. Even if he promised him, he would be besieged by the monk who built the bone gate in the cave. It seems that he killed his family by himself. Yekong took Xia Yun's soul back to 100 souls, and calculated another date. There were still more than 10 days before the cave opened. Then Yekong released the rotten bone tiger. Although this stuff had been put away by him, it was just a thing without a subject. To become his object, it had to be refined. This rotten bone tiger has already established the foundation level, but Yekong is the fourth layer of gas refining. It is difficult to subdue, but under the secret method of Huang Quan's ancestors, it took 8 or 9 days to spend it. The bone tiger refining was successful. 10 days later, 2 monks, a man and a woman, stepped on a flying carpet and flew among the 100,000 mountains. Here are 2 hidden charms. When we get close to the bone spirit gate, we will enter the back of the mountain. After we hit the charm, Yekong took out the hidden spirit charm and said, "Its practical hidden charm is inconvenient, because after they both hide, they cannot see each other's position. If a fight occurs, they may accidentally hurt themselves." However, Yekong has no better way, only to communicate with each other spiritually. Stingy Lianrulan took the hidden charm, and she and Yekong asked for it for a few days, but Yekong didn't give it to her. Actually, it wasn't Yekong's stinginess. The key was that he had already suffered a loss on the battle amulet. He didn't want to make the hidden amulet a secret that everyone in Kangnan knew. And now he took it out, and used it for Lianrulan. It didn't matter. It disappeared after using the amulet, and it was impossible to spread it. But who knows, Lianrulan put the hidden charm into the storage bracelet, but he took out a blue yarn account of the magic weapon. Yekong only remembered this time, this girl was using this gadget to peek at the joy of her and the wind. Yeah, it's best to hide with the blue gauze. Yekong's eyes lighted up. With the blue gauze, 2 people can be hidden at the same time. Don't worry about accidental injury or dispersal. Better yet, it's very convenient to get in and out. Magic charm. It's my idea. Lianrulan narrowed her mouth and smiled proudly. Your idea is really good, but, my hidden charm? Yekong asked cheekily again. Rest assured, I will use it for myself, not to others. Lianrulan knew his mind. That's all. If Lianrulan used it himself, Yekong wouldn't be stingy. Soon, Guling Mountain was watching, and the 2 landed and let the flying carpet fly against the ground. With the live radar of Huang Quan's ancestor, there was no need to worry about being met. The flying carpet is flying in the dense forest, and the tree shadows on both sides. The morning sun is falling down, and there is a very romantic and beautiful feeling. Yekong thought, if it is on Earth, it is not a 3-dimensional movie. This real feeling is good. While he was walking away, I heard Huang Quan's ancestor reminding him, it can't be closer anymore. There are 2 monks who are dandan over there. When Yekong's face moved, he stopped the flying carpet and let the Lianrulan sacrifice the blue gauze tent. Lianrulan acted according to her plan, but when the blue silk tent was raised, she found out that there was a problem. This blue silk tent was too small to stand alone. If it was too, it would be slightly crowded. But they were all monks, and there was no other better way, and Lianrulan didn't feel bad about Yekong, so he let Yekong drill in. When he got in, Yekong also found that it was really crowded. Why can't your blue gauze be bigger? Yekong asked. How big is it? Do you think this is a mosquito net? Lianrulan said angrily. Yekong smiled and didn't answer. The heart is the one who takes advantage of himself. What else can I say? The side is warm and soft, and the fragrant taste makes people feel comfortable. When you raise your hand and turn your head, you can feel Lianruo's soft body, as well as the loose green silk, felt uncomfortable. After walking for a while, the 2 finally entered a valley surrounded by smooth cliffs. Yekongning looked at it, and saw 2 passers-by standing on 2 sides, seeming to be the people of Bingling men and Bingmen men already. They are all barbarian monks, so they all wear indigo barbarian clothes. The only difference is that their chests are embroidered with the mark of animal bones, but the bones of Bone Spirit Gate are on the right side, and the bones of Spirit Bone Gate are on the left. Probably all of them are the authentic descendants of Bone Spirit Gate. The two teams were led by a monk who had a Dandan period. Yekong and Lian Rulan could not see their cultivation, but Huang Quan's ancestors could see it at a glance.